What's up, guys? Welcome to the BFF Report. I'm your host, Mike B, aka Phony. Today we're going to be talking about a game called Age of Wushu. This is a free-to-play action MMO RPG that is currently in beta. Has Jet Li's face on the front. I was really excited about it, but let's take a look. I won't pretend to be well-versed in Chinese culture. Sure, my wife is Korean, but the Asian influence in my house can be summed up with a $250 talking rice cooker and a bottle of cock sauce, which, by the way, is delicious and goes on everything. Now, the genre that the game is based off is called Wushu. If you're not immediately familiar with it, don't worry, you've already seen Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, House of Flying Daggers, or Hero, right? Come on, seriously. Kicking off character creation, we have the ability to choose our background story. We have the Nameless Sword, Phoenix Pledge, a Scholar's Legend, and a Tale of Tianshan something, right? And the little thumb there, right? We go and hover our mouse over that, and it even says, few people know about this storyline. If you want to achieve something, you should go and... we don't know. The character creator in the game is also extremely simple. There's not a whole lot of options here outside of various face templates, of course, hair templates, and then a couple of different pieces of clothing. Now, when I initially created this character, I thought that the hairstyle itself would remain static, with the exception of course, hats or various headpieces. But then at one point, I'm out exploring and I find a chest, open it up, and I find a new hairpin of some sort, and it changed my hairstyle completely. Even in the cash shop, I saw various items that would also modify the way your hair is styled. So while your choices may be slim here, it doesn't mean you're stuck with it for the duration of your gameplay. Alright, first time logging in right here, we have a couple of pop-ups. One that says that you only have 1 hour per day, which is completely false. Maybe it used to be like that, which would totally suck. It'd be impossible to do a review on it otherwise. And then, of course, you have your movement tutorial, which is pretty standard stuff. Then another pop-up, default Wushu settings, and another pop-up experience guide. Okay, you know what? How about I just read this stuff in a second, right now? Look at everything around me. Notice that there are gold sellers everywhere. It doesn't really look that great, I'll be honest. And then another pop-up that says I only have 600 minutes of my trial remaining. See, I don't understand what's going on. So first, I can only play for an hour, or is it 10 hours? Make up your freaking mind, please. But yes, looking at the area, not that great. It's because the game starts you off in like the crappiest settings. So I made a few adjustments by maxing everything out and reloaded the game, and here we go. Everything looks pretty good. Even the camera alignment was able to be adjusted. As you can see, I'm a little bit to the right of the character, and I do that here because I just think stylistically it looked pretty good. Now again, in terms of graphics, it's really hard to meet or beat that bar set by Terra and Guild Wars 2. Two really, really good looking games. The next problem, of course, is information overload. Every character has a name, a title, a rank, an association with whatever sect that they're in. There's so much crap that they, by default, put on top of everybody's character, including NPCs. So take a moment to go through and close some of these things out and only put up what you absolutely need to have, or maybe make it so it's mouse over only, whatever you want to do. But trust me, there is a way to reduce some of the on-screen noise, and in the end, you're gonna be probably pretty pleased in the way the game actually looks, because you actually see everything. Staying on the subject of environment, you can see that the game does a pretty good job in varying different surroundings and really kind of recreating these temples and cities and just all kinds of different scenes to make you feel like when you're traveling, you're actually moving from one area to another. Now, in terms of area size, they are fairly large zones, but they are instanced off. So it's kind of like the original EverQuest, if you guys ever played that, where you go to the end of one, again, fairly large zone, and then it zones you into another one. And then there's this player NPC type interaction that's very natural. So here's a scene where I'm running through a corridor here, just to kind of give you guys down a path, so you guys can see kind of the environment surrounding and everything. That was the whole point of me shooting this shot. You can see that every time I run through a person, they kind of jump off to the side, which is, of course, what you would expect somebody to do if you're running through a town on a horse. And then if you look here at this shot, you take a look on the right-hand side and the left-hand side is people that are lining the roads. You see that every time I go by them, I'll zoom in a little bit here for you, they're shaking their heads at me. I don't know what the purpose of that is. I don't know if it's a sect rivalry or if it has something to do with my personal story. I have no idea what it is or what the reasoning behind this is, but I'm sure there's something I could do to kind of to bolster my reputation with maybe this town or these people or something, so that I don't have to deal with them shaking their head in disappointment every time I ride by. Now, you've already seen how the characters move and the animations and all that stuff work. One thing that I'm the most impressed with is, of course, well, they have double jump. Okay, yeah, that's awesome, and they introduced you to a jump puzzle early on in the game. But yes, you have double jump, which is great, and it looks very, very fluid, the way you kind of float through the air. It's exactly what you'd expect from a Wuxia style game. But that'll come up later on when we talk about combat. First, let's go ahead and talk about this thing called auto-pathing. We've seen this before, where you get a mission, and then you click on the person's name, and it will take you to that person to talk to them. And since the first, like, 5 hours of this game is almost literally running from town to town, to go to the coach, take the coach to some other town, go to the Shaolin Temple, it's almost always go here, talk to this person, perform this thing, and then go back. You're gonna be doing a lot of auto-pathing. Click on the name, it'll automatically run you to that person or that location to perform whatever duty that is, which is typically talk to somebody, and then of course, it goes into fighting that person. I don't know what the problem is, but for some reason, every time you talk to somebody to perform some kind of step in your mission, you have to fight him or fight like his buddy or fight like his apprentice or something. Everybody's got like some weird insecurity where you have to prove yourself to everyone just to get something done. It's like, hey sir, I need to deliver this message from the temple. They wanted me to give it to you. And it's like, oh, fight my apprentice before give it. I just want to give you the goddamn letter. I don't want to fight your idiot son over here. Give me a break. But see, if it wasn't for these mini encounters, there would be virtually zero combat in the first 2 to 3 hours of this game. Seriously. Now, speaking of combat, the first thing you start off with is just basic unarmed stuff, and you learn how to meditate, and just you learn all the basics. And all these skills can be used in combination with everything that you can learn from these guys right here. These are all of your different schools of training that you could go and pledge to, which we would commonly refer to as varying classes and factions. But since the game is open PvP, which means you could gank pretty much anybody at any time, including your own classmates, the typical faction divide mechanic, which prevent you from doing that, doesn't really exist in this game. Now here you can see varying specializations that are sub to each sect, and it goes from swords to poisons to bow staffs. So there's all kinds of different types of abilities that you could take. Again, once you go and you learn some of these, you could take and mix and match them almost however you want. Now, I kind of wanted to go down the sword route, and so I decided to go ahead and join the Wu-Dang clan here. Yeah, that sounded a lot funnier in my head. So they advertise the game as having action combat, and for the most part, it pretty much is. You have parry, you have all these action style sequences, but there's a lock-on mechanism, very similar to Twilight Princess. So when you enter a battle phase with somebody, you're gonna notice your character will stay locked onto that target for as long as you remain generally facing his direction. Now there are varying types of skills. Some of them are AoE reticule, some of them are direct targets, some of them are reactive abilities. So for example, if I parry enough, or if I just in combat long enough, I build up rage. Then once I get to a certain point, I can execute a rage ability. And those actually give it a little bit of an arcade feel. Now you can also see that there's a combo meter that's building up here. I found that it's not all that difficult to take advantage of the combo meter and just sit here and just spam 2 abilities back and forth, as you can see, right? To get that thing just abnormally high. So what about progression? What about increasing your health pool, hitting harder, stuff like that? The game, it's a sandboxy game where you're able to go and mix and match different skills, take on various different professions. You could almost do whatever you want. Yes, there are obvious repercussions for doing certain things, like for example, if you kill one of your own classmates a couple times, you're gonna have to pray to work it off. You'll be punished when you go back to school. Or if you kill somebody, they could put a bounty on your head and someone could capture you and send you to jail or something, which I couldn't get people to do, even though I was running around being a dick for the last hour or 2 of my gameplay. But in this game, you have something called cultivation. You earn experience by doing stuff, but then you have to convert that experience over, and that is called cultivating. And effectively what you're doing is taking these experience points and converting them down into a specific ability. So for me, I just focused on leveling a specific ability that was a stance that just gave me more HP. And you can increase the rate at which you cultivate by either signing up for their VIP service, or taking some drugs. Really, you're actually taking drugs in the game. Or working it off using some form of Tai Chi or group Tai Chi. So the first one, the VIP service, which costs you about under $10 a month to execute. You buy it with gold, but you buy the gold from the website, which I'll show you all that in a second when we cover the cash shop. But by becoming a VIP, you actually remove this penalty that's on all free players that basically says, if you look at this thing here, right, you have a bubble that is your cultivation points, and then you have like these potential cultivation points. And it's like a 70-30 split, whereas a VIP would get 100% of it going right to their whatever it is they're cultivating. And then of course you couple that with the XP boost drugs, and maybe even do some of the team-based stuff. You could level stuff at a pretty ridiculous rate. But see, now we're getting into the pay for power style mindset. Think about it for a second. The game is open world PvP. The way that you actually get stronger
is by cultivating your experience. It's easy to go out and get experience, go and do things, go and, kidnap people or whatever it is you want to do, right? I got levels experience from jumping. Okay, so you could get experience doing just about anything. So yes, there are benefits that are attached to things that you would do to get experience. Like you would actually earn money, so you could use that money to buy scrolls that would teach you new skills and abilities. Then you could take those and you could cultivate them and make them stronger. So yeah, there is a little bit of bleed over here. But for the most part, I feel like cultivation is king. So yes, you could pay real money to get more powerful in the game faster than somebody who's on a free account. And then you could take all of this knowledge and all this cultivation, everything that you've learned, and you could go kick some free-to-play player's ass. Well, let's be honest, this is the way it is in a lot of free-to-play games. Without going off on a huge tangent on free-to-play and how it works and everything, boosters are very, very common. They are designed for people who want to boost because they either don't have enough time to play or because they just want to get there faster. There are other things, though, that the VIP service will unlock for you. For example, you have the option of setting up a market, a little shop. They will have access to a larger inventory space, which I think is kind of odd to be associated with the VIP subscription type service, because what happens at the end? Are they going to lock you out of all the extra stuff? You get a higher chance at getting special rewards from random tasks, which for me, this is my experience with random tasks right here. Check this out. So here, it pops up, great, I enter, and then I die. I hang out here for a while because I get to watch all these guys do all these cool moves as they farm everybody coming into the event. But we have to mention that whenever you buy gold through their online service, then you use it in game, you could take it and convert it into regular in-game currency, NPC currency, which would allow you to purchase skills that are normally pretty expensive if you were just to earn currency in game. And these skills more than likely are, much more powerful even at the starting stage. So you see, this is the part that I have a problem with. The conversion of gold into NPC currency, because that is paying for power, period. There's no way around that. You are paying for power, not paying to get more powerful faster. It is a direct point A, point B. Now, overall, I'd say that my gameplay experience was actually pretty boring. I don't know if you guys were intrigued by anything that I've said so far. I think that these sandbox elements are fun. You have a couple things that you could do. There's a lot of tasks that are just floating around out there. There's a lot of random events. There's a lot of stuff here that might appeal to some people who want to get into the Wushu style of game. So I don't know if it was because, maybe they didn't provide enough direction to, hey, go here to do fun stuff. Because I was constantly doing stuff. It's just everything that I was doing was boring. As I was going from one side of the map to the next, there's all these enemies on the side of the road. But it's like, do I need to fight them? I see that some of them are well matched. Okay, good. That's somebody I could probably fight and maybe even win. But like, what do I gain from that? Do I just go kill them and that's pretty much it? Like, maybe there wasn't enough explanation there, but I don't want any more explanation because I spent the first 3 hours just doing stupid tasks to make me learn stuff. It's like, okay, I'm done with that. Let me do something. So I ended up doing, which is I think what you're supposed to do, right? I decided to go and try the kidnapping thing. You see, every time you log off in the game, your character still exists there. It's just gonna be doing work somewhere like during the downtime. So your character never goes to sleep. It actually just goes and works in the local tavern, or you'll see him sweeping the side of the road or something. So most of these NPCs that you see as I'm running through like a town, for example, those are other players and you can kidnap them. And so I decided to go ahead and kidnap. I found this gentleman right here. There's a cooldown, by the way, so you can't kidnap somebody who's recently been kidnapped. So I went from person to person and I found somebody. So okay, you are now mine. I gave him this kidnapping drug that I got from like some shady vendor like on the road somewhere, which I thought was really kind of interesting. And then he passed out. I put him in a sack and I turned around and there's a couple dudes here. Oh, look at this. They want to fight. And so got into a big old fight. And I lost because there was two of them. One of them was pretty powerful. I tried to block. It didn't really work out, so I died. And then they basically saved this guy. They probably got some kind of kudos or something, or some kind of faction standing or whatever. I went back. I found that asshole, and I kicked his ass. Couldn't find the other guy, but I kicked his ass. And then it turns out he's in the same school as I was anyway, so I ended up getting discipline points against me. So here's the thing. There is sort of this create your own adventure style approach to the game. The problem is that a lot of these adventures are boring as fuck.
All right, so that's pretty much it. Feel free to leave any comments below. I know that there's some of you guys who are big fans of this game, and unfortunately it just wasn't for me. It may not be for some of you, and also may be for some of you. That's the crazy thing about these things, right? Is that some of you guys may be like, oh hey, this game looks pretty awesome. It's just a lot of nothing that's gonna be happening. It's a lot of not fun. The kidnapping parts I did have a good time in, right? There's only so much kidnapping you could do in a single day before it gets boring. Trust me, I know. That's it, guys. See you next week for the BFF Report. Bye.